I recently asked ChatGPT to tell me the top 10 questions people like you ask on Google when preparing for job interviews. The list it gave me was really interesting, and in this video I will answer those 10 questions to help you prepare fully for your own job interview. Okay, let's start working through those 10 questions, my tips and answers. Here we go. Okay, so in front of me I have those 10 questions people like you often ask online when preparing for job interviews. Let's start working through them. Please make sure you take notes. So the first question people always ask before their interview is a common one: how do I prepare for a job interview? Now, before you go to your interview, I recommend you do several things. Number one, you need to get into the right mindset. Remember, a job interview is just a meeting between you and a potential employer to find out whether you are suitable for the company and you want to work for the company. Getting into the right mindset and understanding that it is just a meeting will help reduce nerves significantly. Now, the second thing you must do when preparing for your interview is to make sure you research the company or organization you are applying to work for. I recommend you go onto the company's website and have a look at their About Us page. Find out what they do and the products and services they offer. Also, make sure you read the company's mission and find out what their values are. And finally, make sure you follow them on social media so you are aware of their latest news stories. Now, when preparing for your job interview, I also recommend you carry out a mock interview. Sit down in front of a friend or a relative, or even in front of a mirror, and practice giving your answers to the most common interview questions. And I will tell you what they are very soon. And finally, when preparing for your interview, make sure you dress professionally. I'm sure you will agree that I look like I have very high standards because of the suit I am wearing. I want you to create a brilliant impression throughout your interview, and you can do that by wearing a smart outfit. The second question ChatGPT told me people often ask about job interviews is, what are the most common job interview questions? Now, all hiring managers have a set of standard questions they will ask candidates like you during job interviews. Questions such as, tell me about yourself, or they might say, introduce yourself. Why do you want this job? What are your strengths? Make sure you align your strengths with the skills and requirements of the job description. What is your biggest weakness? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? What is your greatest achievement? Why should we hire you? And also, how would you deal with a conflict with a co-worker? Now, those are standard questions, but they are really difficult to answer. Now, before I move on to the third question people often ask, if you want to watch me give perfect answers to all of those questions in a real interview, you can click that link at any time. The third question ChatGPT told me people like you most often ask on Google before job interviews is this: what should I wear to a job interview? Now, remember this, appearance matters. The hiring manager will form an opinion of you within the first 7 seconds of you entering the interview. Therefore, please make sure you put lots of effort into your appearance. I recommend you wear a smart and professional looking suit. Now, that outfit doesn't have to be expensive, but make sure it is clean, pressed, and it looks professional. And here's a really good tip. The color dark blue represents trust and loyalty. So if you are thinking of which color to wear at your job interview, go with dark blue. The fourth question ChatGPT told me people like you ask before job interviews on Google is this: how do I answer the question, tell me about yourself? Now, don't forget, the first question you will have to answer in your interview is going to be, tell me about yourself. Now, I recommend you talk about 4 things in your answer. These 4 things stand for SEAT, S-E-A-T, and you can easily remember my SEAT structure for Tell Me About Yourself, because you, of course, will be sitting down on a seat at your interview. S stands for the skills and strengths you have that match the job description. E stands for your educational background and any experience you can bring to their company. A stands for any achievements you have gained in your life so far. And T stands for the type of person you are and what you will do in your work to give the company a great return on your salary. Let me now give you a brilliant seat structure answer to that first question. Tell me about yourself. Watch this. It's a great answer. Pause the video, write it down, and practice it before your interview.
Tell me about yourself.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. To tell you about myself, I will talk about my skills, education and experience, my achievements, and the type of person I am. My skills are a brilliant match for the job description. I am a fast and responsive worker, self-motivated, diligent, and I always put the needs of my team first. After graduating from college with really good grades in my chosen subjects, I have worked for several companies where I've gained experience working on teams, completing time-sensitive projects, and bringing creative ideas to the organisation. I am a high achiever. For example, in my last job, I was praised by my manager for my strong work ethic, and I also won Employee of the Month. I am the type of person who will fit quickly into any team, take a cost-conscious approach to my work to help the company save money, and be a positive role model for the organisation while dealing with customers to ensure you receive a great return on my salary. I'm sure you will agree that was a fantastic answer. Now, the 5th question ChatGPT told me people ask on Google before interviews is this one. How do I answer what is your biggest weakness? Now, most people answer this difficult question by saying, I don't have any weaknesses, or they say, I am a perfectionist. That's my biggest weakness. Don't say either of those things. Now, there are several weaknesses you can give that will tell the hiring manager you are a self-aware employee and you want to improve on your weakness. Now, one of them is saying that you find it difficult to say no to people, which means you sometimes overcommit. That's a really good weakness, because if you said that to me in a job interview, I would think you were the type of person who's willing to take on lots of work in your job role. Now, there is another brilliant weakness you can give that's perfect for all job interviews. Here I am in a real job interview giving that answer.
What's your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness is I am not yet very good at giving presentations to people or public speaking. While this weakness will not hinder my ability to perform my duties competently in the role, this is a skill I would like to develop. So if there are ever any opportunities in this role for me to give talks to my team, I would love to give it a try. The 6th question ChatGPT told me people ask online when preparing for interviews is, how do I answer, why should we hire you? Now, when you answer this difficult question, by the way, the question will probably come up toward the end of your interview. You have to give an answer that makes you stand out from the other candidates. I recommend you give a minimum of 3 reasons why they should hire you over the other candidates. But which answer should you give that is guaranteed to stand out? Here it is. Write this down. This is brilliant.
Why should we hire you over the other candidates?
You should hire me for 3 reasons. The first reason is I am ready-made for this position in terms of my skills, knowledge and experience. I can come into the role and have an instant impact. The second reason you should hire me is because I am a frugal worker. I take care of company supplies and resources to help save money and also boost profits. And finally, the third reason you should hire me is because I have created a 30, 60 and 90-day plan that tells you exactly what I will do in the role in the first 3 months of starting work, and I would like to give you a copy. The seventh question ChatGPT told me people like you ask before interviews is, how do I answer, why do you want to work here? This question is assessing whether you have researched the company. So make sure you research the company quickly before you go along to your interview. And in your answer, make sure you give several reasons why you want to work for that company. Again, how do you answer this difficult question to get the highest scores possible? Well, to help you, here I am again in a real interview giving the perfect answer. Please write this down. It's such a great response. Here we go.
Why do you want this job?
I want to work here for several reasons. The first reason is my research tells me you are an industry leader. You support your employees so they can reach their full potential, and also you push the boundaries of innovation, meaning I will get to work on exciting projects with other like-minded professionals. The second reason I want to work here is because the people I have spoken to who already work here have said great things about the senior management team and also your positive company culture. Now, the eighth question ChatGPT told me people ask online about interviews is, what are some good questions to ask at the end of a job interview? So we already know that you should ask questions at the end. Don't say, no, I don't have any questions, because you covered everything in the interview. I recommend you ask 3 smart questions that show you are a great fit for their company. Here I am in an interview asking the questions I recommend you ask. Write these down on a sheet of paper and take that sheet with you to the interview. At the end, when they say, do you have any questions for us? Get out your sheet of paper and ask the questions, because that shows you are prepared and organized. Here are those questions I strongly advise you ask.
Do you have any questions for us?
Thank you very much. I have just 3 questions I would like to ask, please. My first question is, what's the best thing about working for this company? My second question is, could you please tell me a little bit more about the team I would be a part of in this role and their responsibilities? And my final question is, what advice would you give to the successful candidate who wants to excel in their work for your company? Question number 9, ChatGPT says people ask before job interviews on Google is this: what is the STAR method for answering interview questions? Well, the STAR method stands for situation, task, action and result, and it should be used when answering behavioural interview questions. These are probably the hardest questions to answer in an interview. Questions such as, tell me about a time you worked on a team, tell me about a time you had to overcome a difficult challenge, and tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a co-worker. Now, when you answer these and other behavioural interview questions, use the STAR method. Begin your answer and tell the hiring manager the situation you were in. Next, move on and tell the hiring manager the task that needed your attention. Then move on and give in-depth details about the action you took to complete the task, and then finish your answer with the results following your actions, and make sure the result is positive. Now, if you want to watch me give top scoring answers again to difficult behavioural interview questions that use that STAR method, there's a video right there for you to watch. Now, the 10th question ChatGPT says that people most often ask online when preparing for job interviews is this one, and it's a really good question. How do I follow up after a job interview? Now, when you follow up after a job interview, it means that you send the hiring manager an email approximately 24 hours after your interview has finished, and you are sending that email to thank them for having the opportunity and to also further clarify why you are the best person for the job. But you need to be careful with the follow-up email you send. You don't want to be too pushy. Now, there is a brilliant script, an email script I recommend you use when following up after your job interview. And if you want to watch what that is in a video, click that link right now. Okay, so there you have it. The top 10 questions people ask online about job interviews answered. Now, the next thing to do to accelerate your learning even further is click that link right now in the top right-hand corner of the video. Head straight through to my website, passmyinterview.com, and you can instantly download my ultimate job interview preparation pack. When you click that link, you can have everything you need to pass any job interview in your inbox within 2 minutes from now. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and also connect with me on LinkedIn. I have put my LinkedIn link in the description below the video. It is always an absolute honor and a pleasure to connect with like-minded professionals such as yourself. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the very best for passing your job interview. Have a wonderful day.